Hello, my name is Maddie and this is a video about cross stitch. This video has a few less whips, work in progress, than normal, but I've got a whole heap of stuff to show you. So I'm going to dive right in with potentially the less interesting stuff and hopefully work my way up to the most interesting thing. I took some time this month to organize my flosses. So I'll show you a little bit about how I organize them. I have these containers. They are hand-me-downs or from op shops, so secondhand. I've got these ones which have mostly full skeins in them. And I've just got them roughly grouped by colour. And they're a mix of like really old DMCs, anchors, and no-name flosses. These are mostly hand-me-downs that I have. And I sticker bomb the front of them because I think it's fun. So blues and greens and purples, oranges, pinks, yellows, miscellaneous. So that's got a few multicolours in there, a few greys, beiges, bits and bobs. This one holds my Krynic stash. Again, these are all hand-me-downs, so most of them are at least partially used. Only a couple of these are like new spools. And they're all pretty old too. But very grateful to have these on hand. What I actually spent time doing was color coding everything that was like bobbinated or floss dropped. So all of my projects that I have finished that I had just flosses laying around, because I got these in a one of those cubes that goes in this cube shelf there. I've got all these boxes. So what I've done is when I de-kit a project, I've just thrown all of the flosses loosey-goosey in that tote, that box, the container. And I was like, oh, I'll just deal with it another day. That day came. So those are the purples, browns, greys, and blacks. This box is way more interesting. It also has bears on it and a boar. I love him. Somebody at a convention just randomly handed it to me. And they were in like some cosplay that looked like it was from a horror game or a horror show or something. I can't remember honestly, but I treasure this pig. I think it's very funny. And look at this one. Isn't that beautiful? How satisfying. These are ribbons. Anyway, now that you've had a chance to admire that, I'll show you what's going on here. So we have some that are hand-me-downs that came to me on bobbins, bobbinated, like, you know, normal bobbin, right? Stock standard. A lot of them are actually very helpfully labeled by their previous owner. It's very nice, makes sense. But I use floss drops for my stuff. So my favorite ones that I've got are these from Hero and Floss, I think their company's called, on Etsy. And they are a floss drop bobbin, so it's like an all-in-one. So you can put the end of your tag on there. So you've got your number, and then you've got a space for your skein, that's what they're called, and then your extra bits of floss, and you can put it on a floss ring, and you can also like tie off, not a tie, put your ends in there so that they don't fly away. So and just tuck the little strings in there and it's ta-da, bobbinated, but it's also a floss drop. So I love these. Now where did I get it from? Over here. Now I don't have enough of those for my full collection yet. Eventually the plan is I hope to have enough to put all of my floss on them, but that's a bit of an investment. So I've got some other jiggery pokery going on here. I've got ones that I've painstakingly cut out with scissors because I'm a little bit crazy. So these ones have got a hole under the floss so I can use it as a floss drop, and that can be on the ring. And I've also got the little snips in the sides. So that's that one. And then the other ones, a lot of these threads are from when I was working on the Orchids Art Nouveau piece. I'll try and pop a photo in of that. Now I had these on, I don't even have a full one anymore, but imagine there was a top on this. It's an earring display card that I bought from Spotlight. You're supposed to like display earrings on it if it'll focus. There's little holes there. Anyway, what I've done is chop the top off of it so I can make believe, pretend, bobbinate it so I can store it in my box. So I find having them in the box is really useful because they're out of the way, they don't take up a lot of space, right? And when I'm looking for colors, I can see all of them all lined up. So I liked that aspect. So I wanted to get all my colors all in one place. And this is my workaround. It's not very neat, doesn't stay together as nice, but it just lives in the box, so it's not a big deal, right? And by using those methods, I have gotten them all in the box, and I can see all my colors. And they're not perfectly organized, like I've just put reds and pinks and then peaches, orange, yellow, green, teals, blue, etc. So that's what I spent a fair bit of time doing. I think it was one afternoon, or I think it was actually over 2 days, 2 afternoons that I did that. I've also been doing lately some sewing. So I've got some matching bits and bobs. How cute, right? These are travel wallets. So they've got a magnet in them. Super fancy, right? And you can put your ticket there for your flight, cash under here, passport fits in there, a couple of credit cards there or ID, and there's another magnet in there to hold your cards in place. So that one, and a matching coin purse to go with it, and then there's this one. I love this fabric. It's a bit of a his and hers moment, right? Again with the magnet. This is the first one I made of the 2 travel wallets. And then there's the little coin pouch. I'll try and find the patterns that I have for these. I'll get the links. I think there's YouTube links to this one, only an Etsy link to this one, and I modified this one so it's not true to the original pattern. I've got a few more bits and bobs to go in this collection. So there's going to be a little sling bag, so not quite a backpack and not quite a what do you call them, bum bags? I don't know if there's a nicer word for that, but yeah, I'm gonna make one of them. And then there's also little ID card holders that I was gonna put bus passes in. So they're on the way, not made yet. The next segment that I want to talk about is a prize that I actually won. I was very, very lucky. So Cottage Garden Threads was holding a mid-year, winter, end of financial year, that's what it's called, end of financial year competition where you go into the draw to win a prize package of all their stuff. So I purchased a few bits and bobs during that sale to enter myself into the prize because I've been wanting to expand my Cottage Garden Threads collection because I think they're beautiful, for one, and they're also an Australian company, and I do like to try and shop as locally as I can when I can. And you would not believe it. You would not believe it, but I was the winner of that prize draw. I couldn't believe it. So I got a stack of threads. So about 8 or 9 of these were mine that I'd purchased beforehand, because like I said, I was just starting to grow my collection, and all of these arrived in the price. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. The generosity, the thoughtfulness, the luck, forever grateful. I cannot explain to you how grateful I am to have these, and they are gorgeous. Like, I'll just randomly pick a few here to show you. So like this one's Prue, I think you say. Banksia. Echo. Bobinette. Daydream. Stunning. I cannot. So I was trying to figure out how to store these, and my mum had the great idea of standing them upright like this, which I think is great because I can leaf through them and try and find the color that I want. They're not going to get lost or crushed or anything like that. So I'll show you one here how they work. This one's called Mrs. Ryan, and I've put my little end up here because I was using it. I also hole punch the sides of them sometimes just to put my ends in, but I've sort of wound it back up again. You can see how they come like all tightly wound up. That's how the packaging comes. So what you do is you gently pull on this side and it comes out, right? And it's on a floss drop, ready to go. So you can actually pull a strand out. Sort of got to see what I'm doing, so I'll see if I can show you. While I pull one out for myself. So you've got your single strand. You can pull your 6-stranded bit out, but what I like to do is like fuss with the top until I can find a thread, and I will pull that up. So I've got, oh my goodness. So I've got the one that I want right over here, and I've got the rest of it all bunched up out of the way, and then I just hold up here where they all come together and pull gently. You'll see it all come through the other side. There it is. Ta-da! So everything else is still neat and tidy, and then I've got my one piece of floss, and they're pre-cut 50cm lengths, which I've heard some people say that it's a little bit short, and I imagine if you doubled it over like this, like that's not super long, right? If you double it over, it's only 25cm lengths, but I find that they're a really comfortable length when they're the full 50cm. So if I was stitching with 2 strands, what I would do is just pull 2 strands, and I wouldn't be able to use the loop start conventionally. There are other ways around it, but I would just pin stitch to start and stop my thread. But yeah, I could imagine if you doubled it over, it would be like super weeny short for some people. Although I have seen some people who work with super short lengths as well, so you know, we all have our different ways of doing things, I guess. I'm just gonna put it back on the top here, so I've got the color together, and then when I'm storing them, I found if I just wind, and then if I just, a little bit tricky to show you, put my thumb on the bottom, bring the top up, it kind of like springs together, right? And then I just give it a few more twists, and then I tuck the top in there. And it's never going to be as neat and tidy as how they package it, but right, like, that's tucked away, and it can go back in my little box of treasures, and I will be forever grateful. So, treasures. Now, they didn't only send me threads, if you can believe it. So, they also sent me this beautiful floss card? You call it a floss card, right? Thread keep. Thread keep. Look, it's even got a ring. Love it. Not a ring. It doesn't have a ring. It has a hole for a ring. Stunning. That one's made out of wood. And I also got a stack of patterns. Can you believe it? Yes, we are going to go through them because I am excited. So, spring. Isn't it pretty? Take Wing by, this is number 2. This is MergeFabricAndCrafts. The spring was also MergeFabricAndCrafts. Pretty. Australian birds. Charted in Cottage Garden threads, of course. This one I've been eyeing off forever, but I just couldn't justify buying it. This is In the Library by MergeFabricAndCrafts. Look at that. Isn't that going to be pretty? And the thread pack. That's 2 layers deep. Can you see it? Are we going to look at all the threads? Yes, we are. We are going to look at all of the threads for In the Library. So there's the first half. Look at that dark green and the pink. There's the second half. There's a variegated one. I wonder if that blue is more variegated. Sorry, something going on in the street and my dog is very upset, but... Next up are some of the quirky Quakers. I wanted this one so bad when I first saw it in their email. Look. So pretty. Excuse my dog. I'm so sorry for him interrupting. Pufferfish. And the matching threads. They didn't have to, but they did. Look. Can't believe it. Narwhal. Cute. Next up we have the frog. Look. I don't know if you know. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm so excited. Christmas. And my birthday all in one. The crab. These are all by Darling and Whimsy. I think you can see it, yeah, on the pattern. The jellyfish. Yes, yes, yes. And the octopus. Cute. And last but not least, another one from MergeFabricAndCrafts. This is Bushland Quaker. So these are Australian native plants. How cute, right? I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And if you haven't seen the Instagram updates from Cottage Garden threads, you might not know that they have been slammed with way more orders than they used to since their end of financial year sale. So they've actually increased their warehouse capacity and onboarded new staff to try and keep up with the demand. So they have been a bit slow shipping out lately, but I think they're aiming to have that back to normal in the next, I couldn't say for sure, I don't want to say it's wrong, but the next couple of weeks to a month, I'm pretty sure. So, very exciting. Now, what you actually came here for was to look at my stitching, I presume. you know, my works in progress. First up on the chopping block, chopping block, we have the Herbalist by Dara. Her company and Instagram is World on a String, so World on a String by Dara. I like following people on Instagram, so that's what I'm familiar with. Let me just put her on my board, wrinkles and all. So I've been working on this. So this is a mystery stitch along called The Herbalist by Dara. I'm just checking if I've got my card in here, because I often have a card. I do not. So it will just be off the top of the old noggin. Try and straighten it out. So the last part, which is the middle piece, has been released, which is super exciting. It's actually a, it looks like a lady in a long purple dress with a black cat and a shelf full of goodies and an open book, and it's wonderful and amazing. I should have popped a preview of what it looks like while I was rifling through my bags here. So I finished the entire border. Excuse my squeaky chair. It's a paid actor. And then inside the main border, there is this little extra border, inside border of chamomile flowers. They're supposed to be. And down the bottom there. Pretty, pretty. So I have made a few changes to this from what was charted. I've done most of the colors in Cosmo instead of DMC, and then instead of the Weeks Dye Works, I've used a DMC color variations, I think they're called. And then I have also got that brown thread in there that you can see all the text is written in. Now that is Hot Coffee from Cottage Garden threads. So, and my fabric is a 40 count Zweigart linen, maybe natural. I feel like that might be it. Now because of these choices, mine looks a little bit different than what is charted. Also, numerous counting errors, and also I've changed the color on some things. Like the chamomile inside border is supposed to have like an orange vine going between each flower, and I subbed it out for green. My ginger, I have been told, does not look like ginger, which I agree with, and I have been told it looks like popcorn. I'm not going to argue with that, etc, etc. But you know what? It's fun. And I started it, and I'm going to finish it, and I'm excited to do that big purple dress. So that's where I'm at on the Herbalist. Tuck all the goodies back into my little baggie. If you're new here, I make all of my own bags. So far I haven't bought one. I probably will if I come across one that I really love, but not yet. Next up is this one, which is dragonflies. I have a card in here, so I'm going to pull it out, pop it on my board, find my card, and tell you all about it. Isn't it wonderful? Let's talk about it. Dragonfly Scroll, the DMC? No. Dimensions Gold Collection Kit 35131 with the kit threads on a 20 count white Aida. So this is one that I found in an op shop secondhand. It had the threads. I think somebody had started it at some point, but then it wound up in the op shop. So there was no fabric in it. I had 20 count on hand when I started it. I probably would have preferred to do a 16 count, but then I'm also thinking, because the threads had already been started, somebody had used a fair bit of the brown, I think, for the outside, because they would have started it in the top left. Yeah, that's where left to right. Yeah, most people, but I tend to do a bottom right start. Anyway, this is the background here, this gold color, is all one color. So this is over one, it's all over one because it's Aida. This is one thread and this is two threads to make that different make it different, full stop. So working in there, once I fill out this little green section on this page, this is the start of those black blocks, and in those blocks live the dragonflies. Look, so exciting. So I cannot wait to get to them. I think I'm gonna have to do like one dragonfly and then do a bit more of the border and the frame and the scroll and all that. And then maybe do another dragonfly and then leave the last one to last, because I think the dragonfly is going to be the most interesting part. Yep. That's what I've been working on. Tuck him back in his home. And you've seen the baggie. This is a different design. It's a 14 by 14 square bag with just a quilting binding. It's super easy to make. Sometimes I make these little, they just open at the top. How exciting. Sometimes I just make these little doobly-doos to put thread in. These floss cards are from Hero and Floss as well. And it's got a little, oh, you see the little pockety thing? So I can keep the pattern separate from my fabric and floss. Oh, card. I made them this size because I needed to be able to fit. You can see it only just fits the old school packaging from Zipper from Dimensions. Next up is my forever project in this giant bag. I'm very proud of this bag. Most complicated thing I've ever sewn to date. Let me see if I can get the flap out of the way. Just paper. Pretty. This is Waterfall Dragons by Matt Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is 685,542 stitches in total. 799 by 858. I've cropped it. It was gonna be this big, but then I was like, does that really make a difference? No. So I'm doing that. It's nearly square now. Tuck my paperwork back away. Zip that up. Get my ginormous blanket of floss. This is not floss, this is fabric. Ginormous blanket of fabric out of the way. Fold it back the other way so you can see what I've been stitching. I have been doing a secret stitch this month, so I haven't worked on as many things or got as much progress as other months I sometimes do. Here is the very interesting, very impressive green blob. This is a 22 count Hardanger Salter. I think it's a Zweigart. 1/1 full cross. Let me see if I can get you in there. This is a super, oh, let me show you while I'm talking because otherwise it's boring. This is a super size max color version, so there's like 238 different thread colors. So it takes a little while to work on, but I'm loving my green blob and I'm coming up. The page finish is in here somewhere. I feel like I've gridded out to the page. This is just a water soluble fabric marker. And I'm just gridding it up per page, and I'm gonna work in diagonal pages, but we're a long way off that. Will I finish this page before the end of the year? You'll find out next time on the Maddie Stitches channel. Alright, so those are my whips. I also have something very exciting. Zipper. I do indeed have a finish. We all do this, don't we? We all hold something up on a dark fabric and then go, oh no, you can see all the holes. You'd think I'd know by now considering how much Flosstube I watch, but I don't. This is Love Bugs by SproutingLupine. You can find this pattern on Etsy, and there are a few others now. I think there's 2 other pink bug themed samplers that are available. And this is what I've done with it. It was charted on a white background, and I've done it on a 20 count navy Aida. I hand dyed it. I don't know what the original Aida brand was, and I just picked my own colors. So there's a DMC variation in there. It's a little bit hard to see. A white, a really pale pink, which looks exactly like the DMC variation, and then a couple of darker pinks. Now if I cover my face, I'll put my face out of the frame. Yes, the cicada. So the wings I've stitched 2 strands and couched them down instead of doing a back stitch. I find couching, I feel like I have more control. And then I wonder if you'll be able to see the variation. I don't think it's showing up today, the color variation. That's okay. You saw it a little bit more in my last video, I think, when I showed this last as a whip. And then I also added in this little motif here, these 4 love hearts. You can see it's a little dusty in the background there because I was using a fabric chalk pencil to try and plan it out. But that was just a blank space that I felt like I wanted a motif in. That's the word. That's how you say it. Wanted a motif in that blank space. Got fuzzies all over it too. How cute though. And that is everything that I have to show you today for my August update. I think I'm going to work on the Herbalist stitch along pattern until that's finished. I'm feeling excited about that, and I'm also still feeling excited about the Dragonfly scroll, and Waterfall Dragons is always in the background, so those will probably be the things that I work on for the next month. And then other ones, my whip box is full, so I don't think I'll be starting anything new if I can help it. I already impulse started and finished this month in, I think it was 3 or 4 days, like full stitching days. It was like, why did I even do it? Crazy town. Started and finished a secret stitch. So that is fully finished and being shipped off to its new owner in the next week or so. And I will try not to start new things, as we all say. We'll see how that goes, but my whip box is full and I just want to keep plugging away. Most of my stuff is medium to large projects, so I think that's the way it's going to be. And I don't want to get a second whip box. So I feel like I have to move something out before I can move something in. And that's the plan. So thank you everyone for clicking on this video and spending a bit of time with me, and I'll catch you in my next update.